Greetings and welcome to another episode of Wild Mouse. I am your host, Taylor Bartle, and I am joined today by the editor of the Jimquisition, as well as he has his own YouTube channel, and he does the Sesamero tarot card readings, among others. Please welcome to the show, Mann Zilla.
Hello. Hi. Nice to have a chance to talk to all of you folks there about some interesting experiences I've had at amusement parks. So let's get amusing.
Yeah, today is not one of the mainstream parks, not something probably many people have heard of. I, for one, have never heard of it before you and I discussed it.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a small park, only small players. Or I could be conflating things.
Well, it's located in Maple Springs, New York, which I've never heard of that on its own. So, but it's.
I'm sorry. Which park are we talking about today? Because I brought you two of them. So.
Oh, right. Well, we're talking about Midway State Park.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. The reason why that's not familiar for me is because the locals refer to that area as Bemis Point. So there's a little fun fact for you there. That Midway Park is considered to be located in Bemis Point. So
what's the difference between Bemis Point and Maple Springs?
Yeah, about 15 feet. But, you know.
Yeah, so Midway State Park, which is actually, I mean, as the name would say, it's a park. It's not really, I mean, it's grown into an amusement park, but when it was originally established, it was just a picnic ground.
There was kind of one of the neat things about that area that it's in. It has a bunch of these little campsites. There's, I want to say one of them is, it's a lodge for one of the, I forget what he's called, they sort of Norwegian-y types. They have a lodge up there. There was a camp I went to as a kid, which is why I used to go to Midway Park a lot as a kid. It was a place called the Boys Gym Club of America, which was a camp you got sent to if your parents were Christians. And then there was, I want to say next to that, there was a Shriner's place. But yeah, all these like campground areas are sort of in that area. And Midway Park was kind of a place that they could go when they kind of got sick and tired of just camping, you know.
Okay, yeah. Established in 1898 by the Jamestown and Lake Erie Railway, which is kind of interesting in its own right. But as of today, it is the 15th oldest continually operating amusement park in the United States.
How about that?
Did you not know that?
No. Like I said, all my experiences in this place are just from being there as a kid. You know, it's sort of this place you go when you live in this rural Western New York area, and you just need a place to go ride around on a Ferris wheel for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it officially opened July 12th, 1898. They had a big soiree with music and dancing and baseball and tennis, croquet, bathing, and boating.
Ooh.
One of those things is not like the others.
Well, that's when they invented bathing. Sure. Why not?
Sure,
Yeah. Before that, you swam in dirt. So.
It's a strange thing to think, let's go to the park and just, bathe.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. We might get to see an elbow if we're very lucky.
Yeah, that's sexy right there.
Yeah. So.
In August of 1898, you could get a ticket on the Jamestown or Mayville, or from Jamestown or Mayville to take the train to Midway Park for 25 cents.
I mean, that's big money back then.
That's true. Yeah, that's probably like, I don't know, $30-$40 now.
Yeah. Nowadays, you got to drive yourself. I don't even think there's any buses that go there now. I don't know.
The train's not running anymore?
I mean, I'm sure they are. I did not take them. They were, but the one side of the park is right there on the highway where you come up and you just go in. Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah. So it's interesting that we talked, at the beginning about whether this is Maple Springs or Bemis Point. Originally, it was called Midway.
Yeah.
But in 1904, Midway was wiped off the map. They were like, no more. And so Midway Park was the only part of this area that was on the map.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
See, it is. There's when you think about the history of where the usage of the term Midway, right? It's a Carney term.
Right.
So this idea that, the Midway, the main part of the carnival, right? But carnivals are supposed to travel. It's this idea there's a location on the map called Midway. And they set up a Midway Park there that's got a little carnival on it. It's hard to say what influenced what in that situation.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I guess technically the term or the name Midway was in 1894, so 4 years before Midway Park opened. So it was called Midway first. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if they decided to. Well, I mean, I guess when it was built, it was just a picnic area with baseball and stuff. So it wasn't really built to be an amusement park. So it's kind of funny that they then built it into an amusement park, into a Midway, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, kismet, if you will. Maybe they were trying to cash in on some trend at the time that word was associated with.
Probably.
Memes work differently. You had to send them over Morse code.
Yeah. There's the Pony Express memes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of history here about the railway and stuff that we don't really care about. More so what we care about is in 1924, the first ride was built. And it was a roller coaster called the Jackrabbit. It was then torn down in 1944.
Yeah, I was about to ask. I wonder if it was that one roller coaster that was still there when I was a kid. I guess not.
Apparently not. Nope, this one lasted only, it says less than 20 years, so it may not even have lasted until 1944. But in May of 1934, Thomas Carr of Rochester, New York, leased the park from the railroad company. And this apparently was what kind of started the whole amusement park thing. Well, no, I guess not, because in 1951, the park was then sold to Martin Red Walsh, who incorporated Midway Park. And this is what him and his brother, the Walsh brothers, they're the ones that really kind of turned it into an amusement park.
Right. They built all that up from there, right? And then... But even then, that was the vestiges of the old park because they kind of did a whole redoing of the whole thing in the early 2000s. And I seem to remember that all wrapped up in 2007 with another grand opening. So what it is today, which makes sense, by the way, because in sort of trying to jog my memory in preparation for this, I was using the Google Maps Street View. And I'm taking a look at it. I'm like, I'm doing a Gandalf. I have no memory of this place, right? It is completely changed. So, the iteration of the park that you're talking about was the one I experienced when I was a kid. But after 2007, it's a whole different thing. So
yeah, it's this article talks about them adding rides and attractions in 1953. Yeah. But there's no indication of which ones that was. So I really don't know how old any of the rides are there.
Yeah, I want to say one of them that they added, and it's still there, you mentioned a railway earlier. It's probably not the same railway because it's smaller, but they had this little choo-choo train that went around the whole place. And it was a little rideable train that you could be on. I think you can still see pictures of it if you do the right searches. But
is that just the Midway train?
Yeah, on the park itself. There's a little train that goes around the whole park. And I think that's been there since the 50s. But that's working off of this memory right here. And, I'm a wrestling fan, so that's unreliable.
Let's see. 1984, Michael Walsh, Martin's son, bought the park. And then in 1998, they celebrated their centennial with the birthday party of the century.
Ooh.
Probably not.
I mean,
I'm going to say
the last birthday party of that century, I guess.
Well, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. If it's 1998, that's a lot of pressure to put on the birthday party of the century because there's already been 98 years of some pretty damn good birthday parties, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And if you mess up, you only get one redo.
That's right.
Yeah.
But they gave away free birthday cake. So that's exciting. And there was a big band ballroom dance.
Oh, I bet there was some mild to mid bathing that happened at that time too.
That doesn't really sound like the birthday party of the century to me.
No, we're used to bigger and better things here in the far flung future of 2025. So
Yeah, I'm guessing there was probably some like rappers that had better parties.
maybe we can ask them.
Well, you can ask them, but they're probably on trial for sex trafficking or something.
Yeah, I don't know. What's Tone Loc doing these days? So
yeah, he was doing the wild thing, I think.
Yeah, well, those days. What's he doing these days?
Oh, these days? Is he still alive? I honestly don't know.
I don't know. I would imagine, though, that if the events of Funky Cold Medina or anything to go by, he's probably got a trial or two in his future as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So, which I don't know. I don't know why. I was just like, wait a minute. It just occurred to me. Nobody ever talks about the ones that did well in that era, and one of them was Young MC. But then I remember he actually did a lot of writing for Tone Loc, so he's on the hook too.
Well, hopefully it was just writing and not, writing what you know.
Yeah. At least they have alibis for why they weren't at the birthday party of the century. How could they miss that?
Yeah, that's another thing. Who was the celebrity guests at the Midway State Park birthday party of the century?
Ah, boy.
If it was that big, you imagine there had to be some glitz and glam going.
Yeah, Mavis the singing cow, I am struggling to think of anybody that was a celebrity in that section of because that was I want to say Chautauqua County, if I'm remembering correctly, is
yes.
That lower part of western New York. And Chautauqua County, I don't think we had any of our own celebrities. We had to bring them in from Erie County, like get some get somebody that read the weather on like one of the Buffalo news stations or whatever,
dressed as a clown.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, seriously, one year at the Festival of Grapes, our big celebrity visiting guest was Danny Neverith, who was the weatherman. It there was much celebrated, So Beamish Point, which again is rural even by Chautauqua County standards. I can't imagine they were pulling in. I don't know who was popular in the 90s.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah, you're not getting Harrison Ford.
Michael Keaton.
Well, yeah.
No, you don't. Wait, you don't get to just gloss over Festival of the Grapes.
Oh, okay. Which is funny because that had its own little carnival they used to set up every year as well. But okay, so in that part, if you're not familiar with rural areas, a lot of them have festivals that revolve around whatever it is their area produced, right? I lived in Silver Creek, New York at the time, and in Silver Creek, the big product was grapes. There are grape vineyards all over the place, and it's not the fun kind of grapes that makes wine. We did Concord grapes, where you make grape jelly. So the entire town would get together once a year, celebrate our fine tradition of producing the grapes that go into your grape jelly. And, there would be music and fun things. I used to participate. There was a bubblegum blowing contest every year that I never won, but I entered anyway because you got a free piece of gum with it.
Did it have to be grape flavored?
It was grape flavored.
Of course.
Everything was grape flavored. Grape juice, blah, blah, blah. I could do the whole the bit from Forrest Gump if I wanted to, but for grapes. Except they were Concord grapes. And one of the fun little memories of growing up in Silver Creek when you're just a little kid growing up there is you're not supposed to eat the grapes off the vine. But you do anyway, because what else is there to do in Silver Creek, right? So
wait, why are you not supposed to?
Well, they don't belong to you.
Okay.
That's the product of the town. We are going to be short of grapes for the next grape festival if you eat the grapes. So, but this was a real problem because the house I was living in at the time was right up on 3 acres of grapes. I'd go outside, I'd be playing outside, and 10 steps from our swing set, there's grapevines covered in grapes. Of course, we were eating the grapes.
Of course.
Yeah, So anyway, every year we had this grape festival. And the one year, the big celebrity we brought in was Danny Neverith, who, again, I'm pretty sure he did the news on Channel 4 in Buffalo, New York at the time. And so, and boy, but everybody just swarmed out to meet Danny Neverith. I had a signed, I got a signed picture of him.
Oh,
it was pretty good. Yeah.
That's probably worth something now.
Yeah, it would be if I still had it.
Oh,
it's like tears in the rain, I guess. So, but every year they would bring in, they would set up this little carnival area, and one of the things that would be there was the Gravitron. I don't know if you ever seen a Gravitron. I'm sure there's lots of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so the Gravitron was the big one, and everybody would go on the Gravitron and talk about all the fun stuff they did in the Gravitron. And I was too scared to get on the Gravitron, so I believed every word of everything everybody said. So as far as I'm concerned, Gravitron was Narnia, because people would tell you stories about how they stood up on them sideways and how
upside down.
They went upside down. They saw somebody barf on everybody, and it
was all purple from the grapes.
Yeah, cats and dogs were getting married, The Gravitron was the Vegas of Chautauqua County. People were just going crazy in that thing, evidently, And so, but that was like the big thing. Everybody always talked about, we're going to go on the Gravitron. We're going to chew grape bubble gum. Some of us are going to go drink some wine. That wasn't produced here, but we got to have a wine tent because adults grapes, but also when you're an adult and you come to the realization, I am 45 years old and I'm the marshal of a festival of grapes. You need a drink. So, and the only other local alcohol is Jenny Cream Ale. So wine it is. So,
was there a mascot?
Not as such. No. Yeah, that I think that would have required some creative stretching. I think, and all the creative people at the time were working for Petrie Cookie Company, which was the big company at the time besides Grapes, which was a little bakery that made cookies. And then they closed down and moved shop elsewhere, and all we had was the grapes. So,
I mean, I can't talk too much because I went to a cranberry festival in Grace Harbor, Washington, and I'm not a huge cranberry fan. I like cranberries okay in certain things, like in maybe like cookies or something.
Yeah,
but this was like every single shop was like cranberry fudge and cranberry juice and cranberry chicken parmesan, and it was just like, this is too much goddamn cranberries.
That's one of the wonders of living in these rural areas, and like throughout Western New York, there were other ones like I want to say Forestville. For them, it was apples, which was a little better because my dad worked the cider presses down there. Sometimes my dad did a lot of odd agricultural stuff while we was living out there, and during cider season, he always got a job at the cider presses. And so, like, they had their apple festival. I want to say it was a peach festival somewhere around there, but I could be misremembering. Maybe I'm just thinking of an Animal Crossing game I played or something. but I tell you, all of them are 1,000 times better than that town that's got the bull testicle festival. How you want to eat a bull testicle brownie? Maybe like have a glass of bull testicle juice, like that. Chewing bull testicle bubble gum? That's the bad one.
Yeah, I have actually heard of the Testicle Festival, and it's not something I'm going to be visiting anytime soon. But
yeah, you'd have to be nuts to eat there.
I mean, Puyallup, Washington has the Daffodil Festival, and I'm like, how exciting can that be? You're not eating daffodil bubble gum. Like, daffodil's not going to be in anything. So what do? Just go and look at them?
Sell it, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose.
Now you got me curious. I'm going to have to see if daffodil is a consumable salad thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting... I've never been. I just know there's a parade. Was there a parade at the Festival of Grapes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Of course. You got to have a parade.
Yeah. Several of our important people showed up for it. So, yeah.
Including the weatherman, whatever.
Yeah. The one year when he was the Grand Marshal. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
He was the Grand Marshal at the Festival of Grapes. So... Oh, yeah, and I do remember we also had that grape stomping thing. Like, but we didn't have any of the fun accidents like in that one meme. Like, nobody falling over and making weird goat noises. It was, I think the one year we also got a football player that came in and did that. It's I vaguely remember that as well.
Like from the Bills, or just like?
Oh, yeah, probably the Bills. I didn't follow football at that age. I was too fascinated by Transformers. So
No. Okay, so back to Midway State Park. In 2005, an agreement was reached between the Walshes and the New York State for purchase of the park, and ownership transferred after the 2006 operation session. And in May 25th, 2007, a grand opening ceremony was held. So this is probably what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's when things started to switch over. And when you look at, again, comparing to my memories, because back then, trees everywhere. Right. And now you look at the place and it just looks like a state park that somebody set up a festival carnival in. Like it's way different now. Right. And I'm guessing that's when all the big changes happened. So.
March 13th, 2009, the park was designated a historic district on the National Register of Historic Places. So that's interesting, I guess.
Well deserved.
Well, sure. 15th longest running park, right?
Yeah. So. Plus, they survived that banger of a centennial party of the century. There.
That's right.
There were no major bathing accidents. So,
articles of incorporation signed to create Friends of Midway State Park in 2010. This is a nonprofit organization to support the long-term mission of the Midway State Park. And July 1st, 2016, they opened a brand new mini golf course. The Putter Round.
Oh, well, good for them.
I'm guessing you haven't been there since then.
No, I have not. I actually a lot of this here happened after I left, because I only lived in New York State up till about 2006, and then even then it was most of the time was spent in Buffalo. So that's a lot of this is just totally new experience for me.
Yeah, so what was your experience like? You said you got some stories to tell.
Yeah, well, again, a lot of the reason we ended up there, like one or two times my dad took us, right? But most of the time I was there was because I was one of the kids that got sent to the Boys Gym Club of America every year, which just a quick aside about what that is. I don't know how familiar with the evangelical circles you are, right? But in Western New York, there's this organization. What they do is they teach all these kids all these sort of evangelical skills, right? Like they teach you how to do sermons. They teach you how to do stage magic. That you put a Jesus in the stage magic. They'll teach you how to do ventriloquism, and you put a Jesus in your ventriloquism act. Things like that. A lot of the showbiz skills I have, I actually started learning as a result of the Boys Gym Club of America. I'm not really doing the Jesus stuff anymore, but the rest of it stuck, And so I have a lot of fond memories of the Boys Gym Club of America. I doubt any of them are what was intended by the founder, Jim Davis, who started this organization based on his first name, but trying to let us know that, no, actually we call it the Gym Club because JIM is an acronym that means Jesus is mine, right? Sure, Jim, but anyway, this wonderful camp that we got to go to, and it was also some of my first exposure to Canadians, because Canadians used to send their kids there as well. So you got this big camp full of all these Christian kids, and you got to find something fun for them to do that's not like going and looking at girls and stuff. This is a summer camp. And also the age ranges were pretty wide, right? They would start taking kids when they were in like third, fourth grade, and then they take them all the way up to high school. So there's this wide range of ages of the kids that you gotta take care of, and you gotta find something sort of fun and wholesome for them to do. So, of course, we had the swimming activities and the sermon class and all that other stuff. But one of the ways they used to sort of diffuse things and get parents interested in sending their kids would be like, we take your kids to Midway Park, right? And they made a real big deal about that. And so the parents would be like, oh, yeah, they think we're going to Midway Park every day. We weren't. We went one day every 2 weeks. Like there were these 2-week sessions. And sometimes I got to stay for multiple ones because I was just really good at memorizing sermons. And so they'd have me stay on for longer periods. So 1, maybe 2 days in that 2-week period, They would take us, and there was no vehicle. Right. If you look at a map, we're about a half mile from the park. And so what we had to do is we would walk this trail through the woods that led through the lodge's campgrounds, but we couldn't go into the lodge's campgrounds. We had to stay in the woods. So we was like little secret Christian ninja boys, right? Sneaking through the woods to go to Midway Park. And then we would get there, and it was this wondrous thing. And they gave us $1, right? $2 was what we were allowed to take. We was allowed to take $2, no more, no less, because they didn't want, we weren't staying there forever, right? And so you had your choice with the $2, right? You could either, go to the arcade and get some tokens for the arcade, play some video games, or do what they expected you to do, is go on the rides or play the games or whatever. And I think there was like 3 games at the time. And they were all like no surprises. I don't know. Do you have a wide fan base for shooting the clown in the mouth with the water to make the balloon pop? For those people, I'll let you know. I was a 12th runner up in one of those. I was never any good at those, but I do remember, though, that they had some really great rides. The one in particular that I only got to go on when I was with my dad, because the $2 wouldn't cover it, was they had go-karts. So one of the cool things about go-karts, right? I mean, besides the fact that you go, is they had a really good track. I don't know if they still do, but they had a really solid track for any place. I've seen places that actually do go-karts, and they're not as good as the go-karts at Midway Park. They were just, I don't know if it was because I was just young, or that was my first opportunity to get to drive a vehicle, but they had really good go-kart track, and everything's well maintained. The carts don't go too fast. It's nice and competitive. It's just a ton of fun. So we got to go watch the go-karts. Because to $2, I want to say it was $2.50 or $3 or something like that to get on a go-kart. And you had to wait in line for a long time because, like I said, really good go-karts. So instead, what you had was access to some pretty nifty rides. They had this one I was mentioning earlier about the what do you call it, roller coaster that they had. It wasn't a great roller coaster, but it did some interesting things with what it had. It didn't occupy a lot of space. This is a small park, right? So it wasn't a huge thing. But if I had to list off the most efficient roller coaster I've ever seen in my life, this was it. It had, it would go up super high, right? And everything's super high when you're 6 or whatever. But it would go up super high, and then there'd be this drop, and you'd feel the thing going on in your nether regions there, and then it would use whoop, and then it had bits where it would sort of tilt to the side, so you're doing a weird gravity defy thing, and it was a lot of fun. It was Midway Park, for all the jokes I tell about how it's in this podunk part of a podunk county, right? All the jokes I say, it's there's probably a very good reason it's still around, and part of that has to do with that they did so much with so little, that Midway Park just has to be respected for it, Yeah. So yeah, it's. I was just, by the way, while we were chit chatting about this stuff, I was having a quick look at the list of rides that are currently there, right? And you were asking me earlier if the train that they used to have or the train that I remember was the Midway train. And the answer, now that I'm looking at the picture, is no. They had a train earlier, and I'm seeing now that what it was called was the Little Puffer. And that's the train I remember. It actually looked like a little choo-choo train. It even had a little smokestack and everything. You could take that around the whole park. Looks like they replaced that with the Midway, which...
Well, I see Little Puffer train under the list of current rides.
Well, it must still be there. So now they have 2 trains, not to mention the Midway hand cars. So, if you're tired of automatic, you can go manual. It's great.
Well, fancy.
Yeah. So, but I mean...
So the list of current rides, while we're on the subject, of course they have a carousel.
Yeah.
And I think the original carousel shelter is still there. I feel like I remember reading that.
Yeah. No, that is, That's the one I remember. So, and it looks like it's been there since 1924. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, basic carousel. I'm assuming I don't see any kind of like crazy ride vehicles. No, like dinosaurs or unicorns.
It was a serviceable serviceable carousel, a perfectly cromulent carousel. Yeah.
There you go. There's a climbing wall.
Well, that's got to be new. Right?
Yeah. Dodgems, which apparently is a term for bumper cars that I've never heard. Yeah, I've never heard bumper cars referred to as Dodgems.
I'm gonna have to like really quick check the etymology on that one. That sounds like that's got to be made up. No, there's
a whole Wikipedia thing about it. Bumper cars or Dodgems.
Yeah, Dodgems. Oh.
Also known as bumping cars, dodging cars, and dashing cars.
Boy, you learn something new every day, I tell you. That Dodgems. The only Dodgem I know is that game for the Atari 2600. Yeah, I don't know if you remember that.
I don't.
Yeah, so it was a circular track with like a circular area with 4 tracks, and there would be 2 cars, and they were going in opposite directions. And the goal of Dodgem was to not be in the track that the other car was coming at you from, and you got points every time you passed the other car without crashing. So, yeah,
that's kind of I guess that's kind of the opposite of bumper cars, actually.
Trying not to hit each other,
Yeah. It says there's Fun Slide. I'm guessing that's just one of those big giant plastic slides.
Yeah, the giant slide where you sit on the little like
the potato sack or whatever.
Carpet. You zip on down the thing, and if it's your first time, you lose all the coordination and you end up getting elbow burns. And one of two things happens at that point: you either cry and never go on another one again, or you just like the adrenaline rush has you running back up for a second run.
Yeah. And then, of course, your favorite, the go-karts.
Oh, yeah,
still going.
Good. It was a good track, really was.
Yeah, the hand cars that you mentioned briefly. Yeah. Helicopters.
They do helicopters now.
I'm guessing it's probably not a real helicopter. Probably maybe like a Dumbo style ride or something that just goes around in a circle and goes up or down.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that.
You know what? I seem to remember as a young lad, one of the rides was, yes, indeed. There was it was like the way it works is there's all the helicopters that are attached to these rods, and there's actually like a control stick on the inside. And the idea is it runs for about 3 minutes, and the whole time you're in there, you can pull the stick to make your helicopter go up or down.
Go higher, yeah.
Yeah, but it's one of those rides where you have a little bit of control over it, like the Tilt-A-Whirl, where you can like grab the center thing and like spin it around and get your little brother sick. It's great. So,
yeah. Then there's kiddie boats.
Yeah. Those are...
Is that just like, what is it? Just like a pool?
Yeah.
With boats in it?
Yeah, and actually there's a park near here that has them too. And the basic deal with kiddie boats is literally it's just like just a little rubber tube. And I think the ones they had back then had little pedals in them, and you could ride them around that way. So it was basically bumper cars, but on the water. Or Dodgems or wet Dodgems, we used to call them. Wet Dodgems.
water Dodgems. So, I mean, like bumper boats.
Yeah. Yes. I
always called them bumper boats. Yeah.
So.
Okay. Little Dipper coaster. Is that the one you're talking about?
That's probably what I was talking about. And again, like one of those little coasters, it does everything a big coaster should do, but in such a small, efficient space.
Yeah, Little Dipper doesn't make it sound very intimidating.
No, in retrospect, it really wasn't. But again, this is Midway Park. This isn't like what was that place I used to go to? It's no Six Flags. Let's put it that way. We used to have a place when I was growing up called Crystal Beach that had a ginormous roller coaster in it. This wasn't that. So
yeah, the Little Puffer Train, which you talked about, the miniature railway. And then, of course, the mini golf that they have that we talked about that opened just within the past 18 years.
It was news to me. Good for them,
A roadway? I don't know what is that. Just like a Autopia kind of thing?
Yeah, that one I don't know. It's probably there must be a newer edition. I'm guessing because like one of the features of like a lot of these small town fairway places is there's always like a place where you can take your race cars and and they'll do like little derbies and stuff like that there. I think that might be what that is, but I'm just guessing. So,
Okay. What about Roto Whip? Any idea what that is?
Roto Whip. That's that's a little kiddie ride. I'm looking up it's okay. So it's a little like a carousel, really. And when I say little, I mean literally little. I'm looking at a picture of one right now, and it's really just imagine the carts they got inside of Tilt-A-Whirls. Like imagine cutting one of those, say, like cutting the roof off of one of those, so it's just the bottom part, right? And then you just put like sort of a ride bar on it, and you put a little kid in it. It just goes around in circles. It's that's all.
Do the cars spin? I'm looking at a picture too.
They just
go around in a circle. They just
go around in a circle. It's just something to put your little kids on to get them used to the idea of rides, and to a lesser degree disappointment. So.
Yeah, that seems like the most boring ride I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean it's basically like if you want to go on a merry-go-round, but horses are just they just freak out too much or whatever.
That's basically what it is. It's a carousel with just the cars.
Yeah. Here we have for you the general idea of a carousel. So.
What about the Skyfighter jets?
Skyfighter jets sounds like the alternate version of the helicopter ride, where you can goof with the stick and it makes the ride go up and down. But it could also be that that ride that's just got all the seats and it twirls it around, and as the thing gets faster, all the seats just kind of go out, like you know what I mean. Yeah, like the big swings. So. I think there's a version of it that's like that, but with airplane-shaped riding components in it. Where you get in there and it's instead of a chair, you get a whole airplane to sit in.
I'm looking at a picture now, and it does look like it's just kind of the helicopter ride, but it almost looks like a bomber or something.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. I remember the helicopter ride being that basically, but with a dome. So.
And then the Tilt-A-Whirl that you talked about.
Classic.
Did you ride the Tilt-A-Whirl a lot?
Yeah. Again, any ride that had a I can control it component, those were my favorites. And plus there was a toy that was available at the time. I keep calling it in my head the sit and spin. I can't remember what it's actually called, but it was but basically it was just like a disc with like a bit in the center, and you'd sit on it with your legs out and the stick in the middle there, and you'd like twist the handle and it would twirl you around in circles and make you super dizzy. The thing I liked about the Tilt-A-Whirl was like it was a big one of those that was also itself on a giant spinny thing. So
kind of like the teacups in a way?
Yeah. Yeah, it's essentially, Tilt-A-Whirl is basically the teacups, but instead of it being teacup shaped, it's, I'm thinking there was this 80s movie called Explorers, where the little kids, program a computer to put a bubble around a Tilt-A-Whirl thing, and they take it into space. If you've seen the movie, you now know what the Tilt-A-Whirl thing looks like. But basically, take a teacup, give it a Cobra hood, right? So that, if you're inside of it, it doesn't rain on you or whatever. And that's essentially a Tilt-A-Whirl. So,
yeah. This next one I'm very curious about. Tubs of Fun.
Well, that one I can't tell you anything about. I don't know.
Okay. Well, doing a quick Google image search, it appears to just be the exact same ride again, but it's in like an old wash tub.
You get creative when you're out in the country, okay? So this could be a ride.
There's like 3 of the exact same ride, just with different vehicles. Yeah. Like literally, they're just like silver tubs. Like they are bathtubs. They are old school bathtubs. They must be from the bathing. They took the bathing area, they repurposed it into tubs of fun.
Yes. There you go. Like when bathing fell out of fashion again, as we all knew it would, they had to give. Recycle, reduce, reuse, right? So,
well, once people got their fancy indoor plumbing,
yeah. Oh, can you imagine riding in there, the memory of all those ankles? Oh,
baby.
That was the fun part of Tubs of Fun. You got in the tub, and that was your fun.
Oh yeah. Then there's tugboat paddlers, which also sounds a little dirty.
Yeah. Speaking of ankles, oh boy, yeah, I couldn't tell you what tugboat paddlers are. At least not in polite company, but
It's okay. We got an explicit tag. You can say.
Yeah, well, I see that Water Wars is coming up next, and I do not want to open that particular fridge. Okay, so.
Well, yeah, Water Wars. Sounds like it could be cool.
Yeah, in fact, there's a picture of tugboat paddlers here, and the tugboat paddlers is just those paddle boats. It's just paddle boats.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
They're one-person paddle boats. They're nothing fancy there. And then what was you said? Water Wars is the next one.
Water Wars, yeah.
And I want to say there's a Water Wars. Oh yeah, it looks like literally just a park you can go into and squirt people with water. Oh no! Look! When you look at the picture of it, it's like there's two baskets. It's like a basketball kind of setup, and it almost also looks like one of those where you get dropped into a tub. I wonder if it's kind of like the when you go to the park and there's the guy that says nasty things to you and he wants you to throw like
a dunk tank.
Yeah, like dunk tanks. I wonder if it's like dueling dunk tanks.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I if American Gladiators had dueling dunk tanks on it, that would be great.
I'd be into that.
Totally.
And then finally, of course, the famous Ferris wheel. Gotta have a Ferris wheel.
Gotta have a Ferris wheel. And again, it's not what you write home about, but again, it's what you see from the highway. So it's how you know you're there.
So yeah, that's what's currently at Midway State Park.
And of course, the one thing is not on the featured rides list, which was my favorite section, which was the arcade. And
yes,
it's worth noting that when you're out in the middle of nowhere, like Chautauqua County, right? Video games are like, your rich friend has an Atari 2600, right? And sometimes when you go into the city, like you'll stop for lunch in like a pizzeria or something, and they've got one, maybe two cabinets. So going to Midway Park and seeing this building that had dozens and dozens of these arcade machines and like current up to date ones, right, was just amazing. So, hats off to the arcade where I spent most of my time, and also I got to stay out of the sun, which that was a fun thing for me to do in the summer, was stay out of the sun. You
were a pale kid.
Oh yeah. I'm not any less pale these days.
Yeah. Did you have to pay? Did you have to like get a roll of quarters to go to the arcade, or were they free?
No, it was tokens. So you would you put your dollar in the machine, it give you the 4 tokens. And that way, once they had your money, they didn't have to let it go, right? Which is that's Carney 101, right? So once you got the money, you only leave them enough for gas, right? Which I love that, by the way. The old Carney saying, leave them a dime for gas, because the theory is, right, if you take all of their money and then they don't have the gas to get home, then they got nothing better to do than complain about how you took their money and get you in trouble. So the idea is you leave them with enough money to get home, and then they can figure out that they was ripped off. But let them do that there. Right,
let them do that at home, not
far
here.
away from you. So
yeah. Although the internet has ruined that.
Yeah, well, the internet ruins so much, and
you can complain about anything.
Yeah, we're even outsourcing those complaints to robots now. Holy cow!
That's
you
true.
Can't even trust humans to complain about things anymore.
We're not even complaining ourselves.
Yeah, Yeah.
What was your game of choice in the arcade?
Let's see. Well, they had a Mario Brothers machine, like the Super Mario Brothers machine, which was pretty interesting because, our family couldn't afford an NES. So that was pretty good. There was also this, I can't remember the name of the game, but you played a secret agent. And you walked around like with your little gun, you shot things and whatnot. Good Christian video game, right?
Right.
It was, this was the late 80s, and it had really good graphics for the late 80s. I also enjoyed the skee ball machine. I never ever won enough tickets to get anything. Again, another great scam, right? They're like, okay, these, we'll make the parachute guy 30 tickets, and then the kid will spend all his money, and he'll only get 29 tickets, and then he's never coming back here for the rest of the summer. So, Hooray us, pure profit. But I still loved skee ball so much. I felt like I could.
Well, skee ball is a classic.
I felt like I could win it, right? And so skee ball was really good. Obviously, Pac-Man, right? Because that's a common experience among the kiddos, right? Pac-Man. So
I prefer Ms. Pac-Man personally.
Yeah, that is true. But we was good Christian kids and not allowed to look at girls, so I had to play regular Pac-Man. That bow could tempt us into a life of sin. So
it's true. She's very sexy.
The beauty mark, man. Marilyn Monroe has drawn many a man away from Christianity and into different forms of Christianity. So, but
she also just gobbles balls. So
yeah, when they have that festival in Colorado, So
I was always a big fan of Dig Dug. Was another arcade game that I always played. And Spy Hunter.
Yeah, Dig Dug. One of my side gigs is I do art commissions for people, and one of the nice things about being an artist is that here I am pushing. I'm about to be 50 years old soon. I'm a gray mule of a human being, big, wrinkly, hairy person. And thanks to the magic of doing art commissions, I can still do sex work. So, I do art, kink art for people, right? And
sure, yeah. I'm curious how Dig Dug comes into this.
Well, I would have been curious about that too a month ago until I started working for folks who are into the inflation fetish, which is what it sounds like. They like seeing characters get air filled into them, like their big balloons and stuff. It's
not just they want to pay more money for things.
No. I wish that was the fetish, because that I could do that even easier.
You could cash in on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Stick figure now costs $25, Daddy. Yeah. Okay. So that would be so much easier. I think they call that. What's the term they got for that? Findom now is what they call that.
Really?
Findom. That's when there's people that are sexually aroused by being blackmailed or like having their money forcibly taken away from them or whatever. And I'm like, how do I get in on this racket?
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, no, but that one you have to actually be cute for. So I gotta stick to the drawing stuff. But the thing is, I am asexual by nature, but apparently I'm also good at this. So I'm going to do it for as long as I can. Get money out of it,
Sure.
And like I said, it's fun to be able to say, yeah, I do sex work, sure. So.
Okay, wait. So the Dig Dug thing, you just draw Dig Dug inflating the bad guys, and
I'm just saying, I'm wondering
people?
if Dig Dug is what made these folks, some of them, kind of realize that that's what they was into. That maybe he was playing Dig Dug, and because Dig Dug also had I want to say Xbox Live Arcade did an updated version of Dig Dug at one point with the cool modern graphics, and it would not surprise me to find out that somebody played it with the new modern graphics, and it sort of it touched him in a special way, And I'm not even going to make fun of that, okay? I don't yuck people's yum, right? If that's what you're into, as long as you're not doing it to real people, because there are videos of that on the internet, and they all end in lawsuits. So.
Jesus Christ.
But reasonably so. That's if nothing else, an OSHA violation, and very, very rude to do to somebody. But as a fantasy expression kind of thing, it's one of the things people are into, and I'm not going to knock it, But at the same time, when you say Dig Dug, I get reminded of that, So we draw things from our life experiences, I suppose.
Yeah. That's not a path I thought we were going to go down, but
but
here we are.
What happens in Midway Park stays in Midway Park. Or no, we're actually doing this one in the Gravitron at the Grape Festival. So,
yeah, I don't see the Gravitron on here. Is it gone?
I guess. Well, the Gravitron is one of those ones that it seems more particular to traveling carnivals, and I don't even know if it's a common thing outside of Western New York, But yeah, if you were in the Erie County Fair or any of the various county fairs throughout that upper northeastern part of the United States, you saw a Gravitron. It was every one of them had a Gravitron in it.
Well, we definitely had the Gravitron at the King County Fair or the Puyallup Fair.
Yeah, But yeah, no, this one, no Gravitron. I wonder if it's just either because, like, I remember hearing somewhere that all of the rides basically get passed from person to person. Like, if you are the keeper of the Gravitron, it's your Gravitron and it goes where you go, kind of thing. And I wonder if it was just kind of like whoever, all the sort of grandmeisters of Gravitron ownership took one look at Midway Park and went, okay, this looks like you're asking me to set up roots here. I'm a carny. I don't do that. So, some people are just with it and for it. They want to travel, so.
Well, sure. And they want to be able to, skip town if there's an injury or something to someone.
Absolutely. I mean,
they got to get out of there before any lawsuits get filed.
Who would get injured in a Gravitron? So,
only good things in the Gravitron.
Only gravity-defying, amazing feats of impossibility happen in the Gravitron with no one ever getting hurt ever.
So, nope. Only good vibes in the Gravitron.
Only good vibes in the Gravitron. I want that on a T-shirt. That's good.
I was going to say, that might be a T-shirt.
What?
So the Little Dipper is the only roller coaster?
Yeah. No, it's the only roller coaster they have. That
definitely seems like this is not a theme park goer's theme park.
Probably not. No, like somebody that's looking for the Disneyland, Six Flags experience kind of thing. You're not going to find it there. I mean, if anything, it's going to feel to you like a rest stop, probably. Like if you're going on a tour of things. But I would say that these folks would kind of owe it to themselves to at least check this place out for a day. First off, you can get through it in a couple hours, right? It's not
I imagine
a ton of stuff to do, right? But what is there is still fun. It's well maintained. It's well loved. It's a part of a community that is super proud of it. Enough to throw it the party of the century. Why weren't you there?
Yeah.
I mean, Young MC was maybe there.
We probably not.
Prove he wasn't. And a lot of and just the memories of ankles. Go ride the tub ride and live in the ankles of your ancestors. Okay,
live in the bathwater of your ancestors.
Yeah, Grandpappy's bathwater. That's what we call it. And but yeah, no, it's just a wonderful place of history. There's a lot of great memories there for me. Like I said, it was also an oasis of relief when at the time, again, you're going to this very intense Christian camp where they have these expectations of you to go, like, while you're 8 years old, like, try to convert a church full of old people to Christianity, which, yeah, it sounds harder than it really is, as it turns out. But, but seriously, like, that was our whole shtick, was it, and so, like, when that's the sort of thing, it's like, okay, so we're training you to go, do your sermons in churches and do your magic tricks in churches and think Jesus and study the Bible and all this other stuff. And then you get this little bit of relief where they hand you $2 and you just go nuts in Midway Park. And, it's the oasis analogy really does fit there, because in the desert that is just boring, sit up straight Christianity, you can look at the smallest, most unimpressive roller coaster you've ever seen in your life, and you take a ride on that thing and you go, this is freedom. This is awesome, right? You can play some Super Mario Brothers and be like, I'm not just playing Super Mario Brothers, I'm playing Super Mario Brothers in defiance of order, right? I look at 3 different kinds of up-down ride. I'm going to ride all 3 because, and just be enthusiastic about it. And I think that's really the takeaway when it comes to these smaller parks, is it's very easy for somebody with very cosmopolitan tastes and experiences to come to one of these places and just be, oh, this is just the tiniest little park. Just like you would go to a grape festival and be like, oh, look at these people celebrating grapes. Oh, grapes are just a fruit. It's like, yeah, no, we got Danny Neverett. We're having the time of our freaking lives, okay? And then we're going to go, like, not throw up in a Gravitron, and then we're going to go to Midway Park, and we're going to ride the Dodgems, apparently. So, like, it's a reminder in life that everything's a matter of scale, okay? And when what you have around you is far less than what you're used to at a big, like, mind-blowing place like Disneyland. Midway Park is wonderful. It's super excited about it. I'm still jazzed about it. I'll bet the go-karts aren't even as good as I said they were. But to me, they were the best, right? Because that's Midway Park. So, and rant over. Thank you for your time.
I do have to ask, Jim Davis, not the one who created Garfield.
No, he was not.
Okay.
He's not even the fun Jim Davis. No, he was like most people that start little pocket cults. He was a sailor, I think, and I could be conflating him with L. Ron Hubbard. There are times I conflate the two, but anyway, yeah, Jim Davis just bought this little piece of land out in Bemis Point, and like long time ago, he built these houses on it, dormitories and all this other stuff, and was just started being like, okay, I'm going to invite like 300 kids every year to come learn how to teach Jesus to people, right? Because I had a profound Jesus experience, and so there was this awesome house, right? Like, it was a neat house that was sort of at the center of it all. And then you had the dormitories, and, we all had like a bunk in one of the dormitories, or if we were really lucky, we got one of the rooms of the house, there was a dock. We did all of our bathing out there. And like, I know that sounds like a callback, but literally, no, we didn't use bathtubs and stuff like that. We literally took our shampoo and conditioner and everything out to the lake, and we bathed in the lake, right? As was the style for our ancestors. And so, like, we had a big mess hall that also had a stage in it. That's where we put on shows once every 2 weeks. It was an interesting little place, but it was also like some very demented stuff going on there. I think, though, you know what, this might even be like, you want to talk about fun activities. The one thing we used to do there was they had a game called Missionary. And the idea was, that's the nicest thing you're about to hear. The subject of Missionary was that the camp counselors would wake you up like shortly after lights out. Camp counselors would wake everybody up and say, "We're playing Missionary," and you had to get up, and we'd all run in a mess and find out, like, okay, so the goal of Missionary is someone has a Bible, and your goal is to take a chapter of the Bible verse by verse, and you have to memorize it, right? You memorize this verse, and then you got to find the scribe and tell them the Bible verse, complete with like the chapter and verse, right? The challenge in all of this was that the camp counselors were hunting you with super soakers, and if you got hit, you get sent to heaven, which was a woodshed with nothing in it. And so that was bad enough, but the other thing was that the camp counselors were trying to recreate all of those horror stories that Christians tell their kids about persecution in other countries. So they wouldn't just shoot you, right, with the water. No, they would drag you to the side and interrogate you, right?
Oh my God.
And the worst part of this whole thing was that one of the campers would be pre-selected to be the traitor, which was the one that gave up kids to where the camp counselors were. And a lot of us kind of figured out that, hey, maybe the counselors will go a little easier on us here, because it was terrifying. So, well, maybe it'll go easier on us if we just pretend to be the traitor. And so what would happen is, like, half the camp would, like, sit there and, be ratting each other out, like, just willingly being the traitor, while like, nobody's getting anything done. And then we'd all get yelled at, and then the process would repeat 2 weeks later. But this horrible game that they used to play, I guess it counts because we was within a quarter mile of Midway Park. It counts as one of the activities, but you had to be in a very exclusive club to play it and get some very dodgy permission from your parents. So
I doubt the parents had any idea that was going
on.
If
my dad knew, he'd approved. He'd have approved right away. Yeah. No, he was the type that was telling those kind of stories. Like, he was the one. He tried to convince me that there was some church out in the middle of wherever that I can't even remember what he said, Rwanda or something like that. He says, "Oh yeah, the local people marched into the church and they said, 'Why are you being Christian?' And the pastor was like, 'I believe in God.' And so they put him in a garbage bag full of gasoline and lit the gasoline on fire in front of the whole church, and everybody screamed and like." And the thing, we didn't have the internet back then, okay? we didn't have the internet back then. So, you hear a lot of these horror stories from your weird apocalyptic, fundy, right-wing, super Christian parents. And then they send you to this special camp where they reinforce that lesson. And then you get a little oasis of peace for $2 at Midway Park. And it's the best thing you did that whole summer. So,
what did it cost to get in?
That part I couldn't tell you. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure admission was free, but everything cost tickets. So, like, you could just go there, right? But I mean, and I could be fudging on that one a little bit because, again, I was really young. But also keeping in mind, I'm pretty sure that the local campsites had a deal with Midway Park. So even if there was admission, but I'm pretty sure whenever my dad took us there, that that you just walk up to this booth and buy tickets. And it was like, some rides were 1 ticket, some were 2 tickets, some were 4 tickets, bitty bitty hoo. So yeah, everything just cost tickets. Very similar to the setup at Holiday Hollow, the place I used to work at in Corfu. So.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, as you said earlier, you threw 2 ideas at me, and that's the other one, so we'll be doing an episode on that eventually.
Well, we'll that one is pretty interesting, and it includes a lot of stories about me getting whacked in the head. So
look forward to that.
Yeah. Well, I'll try to remember as much of it as I can. But
yeah. So Midway State Park operates from Memorial Day weekend through Labor Day, so it's open now. If you're in the Maple Springs or Bemis Point, New York area, go check it out, right?
Absolutely. Like, go, in fact, if you find yourself anywhere in Western New York, Chautauqua County is a small, friendly place. Definitely go check it out.
And go to the Grape Festival.
Well, you got to be there. If you are there in time for the Grape Festival, you're in for a treat. I hear this year they're getting the sports guy.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. Well, before we head out of here, you want to plug your stuff?
Yeah, real quick. I'm, as you heard, I'm the editor of the Jimquisition, which is a weekly show that's on YouTube. You can, and it's also a website, so you can just go to jimquisition.com. It's spelled the same way it sounds. It's hosted by Stephanie Sterling, who is a wonderful person, and I'm super happy to work for her. So definitely support me over there. I am also starting my own weekly series over on my own YouTube channel called Pan Dang It. And that's roughly spelled the way it sounds. There's an exclamation point at the end. But if you just do a search for Mann Zilla, you'll find a pandangit.com. In fact, follow me on Blue Sky. My handle there is also pandangit.com over there on Blue Sky. I've also got a website, pandangit.com. Have I said that enough yet? Pandangit.com. Go there and see all the stuff that I do. I've written books. I do videos. I'll read you tarot. I will draw you inflated if you like. I do that now. But, please, by all means, come check me out. I hope you choose to do so. And as always, thank you for your time.
Yeah, and thank you at home for listening. We will see you next time. Goodbye.
Your attention, please. This episode of Wild Mouse has concluded. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcast player, and follow us on social media at Wild Mouse Podcast. Don't forget to visit the gift shop at wildmousepodcast.com. For exclusive bonus content, become a premium pass holder at patreon.com/wildmousepodcast. We hope you enjoyed your time and will visit us again soon. Thank you and good night.